You know, with an average age of 29, India has one of the youngest populations globally, which is actually a great advantage, both economically as well as politically. But then, most often, there is this great cynicism which is expressed by a lot of people, particularly when it comes to politics. The young people particularly feel that there is no point being in politics unless they have political backing. And second, only electoral politics works. You have to win an election. Then it makes sense to kind of be in politics. Today, in our The Real Game Changers series, we are going to meet someone who's all of 23 and engages the young to look at politics and policies from the prism of being involved and engaged. His story began at the age of 14, or maybe not, maybe even earlier. We'll find out, and there is no stopping. Rishi Raghavan, who's the youth wing leader of Bengaluru, NAVANIRMANA party, or BNP, which is the only city party in the world. Hello Rishi, can I call you Rishi?
Yes, Sudha ma'am, you can call me Rishi. It's really nice to hear from you today.
So, look at it. You have an alliterative name, Rishi Raghavan. It's almost like singing a song. Welcome to The Real Game Changer. So proud to have you. Rishi, tell me something. You began, apparently I was reading about you, and it started at 14, did it, in school?
Well, I would think at 13, 14, because there were school vice captain elections happening at that point. And I knew that I was someone, even the smallest of issues used to excite me. The idea that many people needed something to get done and they would put their faith in one person. So it was about wanting to be that one person. So yes, at a very low scale, we did have small speeches and campaigning. And the first time I contested an election, so I guess that was the beginning.
And then in college, did you carry on that in college as well? Because I've read that you were very, very active when it came to, activities in college, which of course not pertaining to, civic issues and other issues which your, batchmates were facing.
Yeah, naturally, when I went to college, I realized that the scales are a little higher and the problems are also different. So I, in fact, contested an election, in my very first year as somebody who nobody knew, and I was unsuccessful. Then I went back, I worked for an entire year. In my second year, I contested again, and I went from being one of the lowest voted candidates to the highest voted candidate in the history of the university up until that point. So that was the journey. And in college, I realized that even in politics and the student union space, what I liked most was the aspect of quality of life. So I was what was known as the campus life minister, where we were looking at residences, policies, food, transport, amenities, services for the students. So I think that was the next step up for me in college days.
Right. I mean, Rishi, I want to ask you also that, Bengaluru NAVANIRMANA party, why don't you tell people about this?
So here I was, having been through student representation for a good number of years. And when I was studying in Delhi, I spent a couple of years working with the highest level of politicians. I worked with elected MPs from 3 different national parties, representatives, parties, governments, and I got some very good opportunities. And after all of this, what I realized was, we as individuals who do not come from a political background, who don't necessarily come from a lot of wealth, if we want to have impact, and especially political impact, why I find political impact inspiring is simply because of the scale that you cannot have with an NGO or a charity or anything like that. So when we want to get involved with political impact, we are so far away from the ground reality sitting there in Delhi at the national level or the state level. And I, as an individual, realized that, look, I want to dedicate my life to municipal governance, municipal politics, because this is what's closest to the people.
Right.
At the same time, Bengaluru NAVANIRMANA party was coming up, and I joined in its founding days. It had already been established by a lot of civic experts and activists from across the city, who had all come together with the idea that, look, we are experts in our city today. For the last 1, 2, 3 decades, we have been understanding how to govern the city, what's going right, what's going wrong. We have been doing advocacy, giving advice, working with representatives. But what's the point if all of us know what's the right thing to do when we are not in the right position to do the right thing. So this was the philosophy of Bengaluru NAVANIRMANA party, which started as a citizen movement to focus just on Bengaluru and just on local governance at the BBMP level. So in the past 2 years of our existence, even without being in authority, so we are yet to contest our first election. Even without that, we have been laying the foundation. We have built decentralized teams at every ward. These teams attend ward committee meetings, get issues resolved. Just a few days back, I was in another ward committee meeting. This morning, we got another issue resolved at a playground recently. So these are the things that all of us are doing at our ward level. So to conclude, the belief at BNP is that, look, we are not saying that we're going to change the world. We're not even saying we're going to change India or India's political system. What we are saying is, if we build an organic, decentralized movement, ground up, one ward at a time, in the medium to long term, we will have a body where citizens, professionals, youngsters, people like me are involved in municipal governance. That's it. That is our vision.
Yeah, and you know what is really very surprising is also the age that you are at. 23? Are you 23 yet?
Yeah, I'm in fact 22. I will be turning 23 soon.
Soon. Okay, so happy birthday in advance. So you're 22.
Well, a few months away, but yeah. Thank you so much for that.
22 years old, which is even 1 year younger than 23. I don't see, boys and girls your age being vaguely interested unless they come from a political family, because they are more interested in this. They want to be on the phone. They want to be on social media. They want to be on Insta. Actually, there is very, very less even participation, social participation. They all live in silos and their best friend happens to be the phone. What has gone wrong with us?
I think sometimes we can look at the society and the youngsters today and think about, okay, what are the few things that we have got wrong and change that? So that's another conversation. But I think there are also issues with our system today that does not particularly encourage or support youngsters like me to straight away look at governance, especially local governance and politics, as a career. Let's leave aside all the parties and the status quo that's there. But even when we look at just the basic pay of a corporator in the BBMP today in Bengaluru, it's merely 7,500 rupees with some allowances per month. So clearly, if someone who is educated, studied a degree, wants to have impact, wants to be in politics and clean politics, then there is no way that they can sustain it, right? So this is one of the issues. So I think that some of these things, when we gather a critical mass of youngsters who want to be there, make this as their career, I think this too will change. All over the country, we are seeing allowances also increase so that people can look at politics as a career. World over, politics is one of the highest paying professions because there is that amount of respect that you need to bring something to the table and it adds value to you.
Yeah,
that is missing.
Yeah, but Rishi, some people would say that it is highest paying also because money can be made. And I'm going to ask you something. You considering that you have been raising civic issues in Bengaluru, we have been doing a lot of stories around Bengaluru's killer potholes. Before I let you go, I want to ask you, look, the government makes promises, the Bombay government, it has done nothing. And the killer potholes has taken several lives. What has BNP done so that, something can be changed in Bengaluru?
Well, it's absolutely disheartening. Even 2 days back, a 15-year-old lost her life. Yeah, not because, it's not just potholes. Potholes is one thing because of, say, flooded walkways, underpasses. So there is no concern that has been shown towards public transport and public amenities in general. What's the fix? We have seen through our rigorous data and analysis that every ward gets, you won't believe it, the average citizen won't believe it, almost about 100 crores per a 5-year term just to take care of the roads, amenities, waste, all of that. And when we look at these projects, all of them are given away, in ways that are not transparent. public feedback is not taken. So what happens is the projects that are really need to be taken care of, like the smallest things, filling potholes, making sure road quality is maintained, these things are not taken care of. So we believe when we form these decentralized teams first, who already know what is to be done in that area, and we are able to get competent people elected, we will then be able to implement the projects that people really need. And why I think it's possible, especially for people like us today, is as I speak, you might be very well aware, Chennai and Coimbatore today have seen a 21-year-old and 22-year-old councillors. Trivandrum had a 22-year-old mayor.
Yes.
Surat has a 22-year-old councillor.
Right.
Yes, some of them come from conventional political backgrounds, but that too is slowly changing, and hopefully many more people like us. Today I have a wide pool of amazing youngsters who are solving civic issues, taking things up. So it's about getting people like us into the system.
Rishi Raghavan, you give us hope, and thank you for being on the Real Game Changers from the South. And I hope that when you finally decide to fight elections, we see a change, a new beginning, for not only for Karnataka, but for
Thank you so much. I definitely hope to contest the elections as soon as it's announced. So I will look forward to that as well. Thank you so much for your wishes and this opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining India Ahead. Thank you indeed.